Now it's time for tip-episodes with quick tips you should know. Techniques you can implement into your workflow right here on A Tale, oh yeah, A Tale of Two Hygienists.
Welcome in, everyone, to this week's tip-episode. This episode is going to be a little bit different. I'm joined today by Belangie Perez-Torres, and we're going to talk a little bit about pilot programs. Pilot programs are fascinating to me. I've used them a lot throughout my career, but where I think it's going to be a little bit different is, and how I want you, the everyday hygienist, to kind of think about the topic today is how can I take some of these steps that Belangie is talking about and implement them into my own space. So what does that space look like? Is that your family space? Is it your friend group? Is it your personal, hey, I want to get better at a task. Here are some of the things that I can work on. And these are the steps I need to take to develop this project. There's so many different uses for it. And Belangie kind of goes into it in a little bit. Like if you are one of those people that are, maybe earlier in your career, maybe later in your career, and you want to be a high achiever, understanding the steps for a pilot program, I think will help you kind of propel that part of your career a little bit later on. So without further ado, let's get into our conversation. Hi, Belangie. Thanks for being here. If you don't mind, will you just state your name and your title?
I'm Belangie Perez-Torres, Director of Hygiene, Strategy, and Operations at Aspen Dental.
Now, you've had an interesting career path. I think it's something that a lot of us can identify with, but it's also something I think a lot of people are aspiring to. Do you mind just, where did you start with Aspen? And then kind of where have you ended up? And then if you don't mind also kind of elaborating a little bit more about your job functions with your current role.
I joined Aspen Dental in 2011 as a chairside hygienist and advanced my career from becoming a hygiene manager to Director of Learning and Development, and now Director of Hygiene, Strategy, and Operations. My core responsibilities are around project management and leading high-profile strategic hygiene initiatives. This requires me to partner cross-functionally to research, analyze data, establish milestone goals, and make recommendations and develop training content.
So in my experience, the training and pilot phases kind of go hand in hand. I know you do pilot phases for all sorts of aspects of the business, but can you talk a little bit more about the development of this pilot?
Given the size of our organization, there's no shortage of ideas or concepts. However, not every idea becomes an initiative. We go through a vetting process to assess its scalability, potential return on investment, and most importantly, whether it supports our main customers, who are the patients and providers. Before we launch a new initiative, we kick off with a pilot phase, which is essentially testing it at a smaller scale. This helps us fine-tune the initiative to allow for better implementation and reduce the risk for failure. An initiative can be a new product, service, or process for the dental practice. The key thing is that it's new.
The beginning parts of the pilot, you generally need a lot of participation from all the different groups. How do you find the right people that are going to help you get the results that you're looking for, and or help you identify the weak points of the failure points of this?
When we conduct a pilot, we typically lean on hand raisers, selecting hygienists who are champions of change, open-minded, and very responsive to provide us valuable feedback. Their insights help us improve the initiative or product. This is a unique opportunity for them to expand their skills, learn to collaborate with non-clinical professionals, and give them exposure, which ultimately can lead to career advancements in the future.
Belangie, walk us through the steps of a pilot program that you all take.
So step one, assess and diagnose the business problem you're trying to solve. Through insightful interviews, you will uncover the root of the problem, which will guide you to crafting a criteria for the solution. The next step is to present your findings and the best possible solution that will work for everyone involved. Now, these first two steps should already be defined in the proposal that earn approval for the pilot. Step three, planning. Identify who the key players are. Set quantitative benchmarks for success, establish a timeline, and most importantly, communicate often to keep everyone in the loop. Step four, quality check, especially when it involves technology. Test the product and train users in a mock setting before going live. And of course, the big moment arrives. Step 5, deployment day. To be on the conservative side, deploy the pilot in one location or with one user. You can learn a lot from just that one launch. Lastly, monitor the performance of the pilot, gather feedback, and make necessary improvements before expanding the program to other users or locations. If the pilot is proven to be successful, it can now go through a full-scale launch.
So, what are your expectations going into a pilot program? Do you have a preconceived idea of how successful it's going to be? Or do you ever have pilots where you're like, almost 100%, like this is going to fail, but we do need to see that failure to be sure? Or do you just pick pilot programs that are going to have a ridiculously high likelihood of success?
A pilot is meant to test a solution. There's a lot of time, effort, and money that is poured into it. The last thing anyone wants is to fail. So it's important to consult with a variety of experts who can share their perspectives or know how to analyze complex data before implementing it. One of the things we continue to challenge ourselves when developing or implementing solution is whether it is intuitively designed or seamlessly enough that allows users to quickly adopt it. For example, when you bought a cell phone, did you read the user guide to learn how to operate it? Probably not. That's because it was so well designed that almost anyone, even an infant nowadays, can operate it.
Can you tell us about a program that you guys have implemented that you're really excited about? One that has succeeded also, but why were you excited about it? How did the process go? What kind of bumps in the road did you have? And then how is it going now that it's launched?
Let me share you a story of a project that really got me excited. It was the integration of voice-enabled periodontal charting software. Now, this product was a customized tool for our electronic patient management system, and it took some time for the developers and AI to keep up with the speed of the hygienist's voice. So the first version of the software was lagging, but the hygienist involved in the pilot provided helpful feedback to make it better. They even came up with new commands that we programmed the technology on to make paracharting easier for all. Once we were ready for a company-wide rollout, we rebranded the software as Digital Dental Assistant, inspired by the virtual assistant bots we see on the websites today. So as we geared up for the rollout, the excitement only grew. We're still on the upward trajectory in adoption, all thanks to our fantastic hygiene managers and trainers who have been instrumental in offering chairside support to new users. But in my leadership role, I learned that hygienists, being methodical by nature, can be a bit hesitant to embrace something new, especially when it's technical. It's completely understandable given that they have busy schedules and it takes time to learn a new skill. As hygienists, we're encouraged to become lifelong learners to expand our skills and deliver quality care in today's modern dental practice. Stay inspired, stay smiling, because together we're transforming dental care for a better, brighter, and healthier future.
Belangie, thank you so much for being with us. I'm sure lots of people enjoyed this topic. If they wanted to reach out to you, how can they find you?
If you want to connect with me, search Belangie Perez-Torres on LinkedIn, or you can follow me on my Instagram handle, dental_hygiene.
A tale of two hygienists.